Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Gold Rush Ness announces huge relationship news. Ness has been struggling over the last 2 years with both his professional and personal life. After taking a full season off from Gold Rush and having his fiancée leave him, he looks like he is finally getting his life back together again. He returned to Gold Rush this season, and now he looks like he is getting his personal life back under control again too. Here is a look at what Rick just said that has his fans very happy. Ness makes big relationship announcement. Ness is on Gold Rush this season. However, as fans know, the show is taped well in advance. What is playing out now on the Discovery Channel reality TV series happened months ago. One of the biggest stories from this season of Gold Rush is the return of Rick to the show. It is nice having an experienced gold miner back after last season's disappointing take. It was also nice to see Rick back on the show because his life seemed to be falling apart when he left. He didn't take part last season because he began to suffer from depression issues. Rick had never gotten over the death of his mother. He was diagnosed with seasonal depression and had to see a therapist. Finally, his romantic life fell apart when his fiancée Mary caught him cheating and left him. Lise left him but then returned to him, and the two seemed to be on again off again for a long time. However, since the holiday season, both have been posting photos that show them back together and seemingly happier than ever. Now, Rick makes it sound like it is getting even deeper. Ness posted a photo on Facebook that showed him standing in front of Lise. She had her arms around his neck and looked at him in the eyes. He was looking down at her chest. In the caption, he pointed this out and said he can't stare at the mantle while you're stoking the fire. However, getting past the joke, Rick also called Lise the future Mrs. Ness. Gold Rush fans respond to Ness' wedding news. Ness is clearly inferring that he and Lise Mary are engaged once again. They too broke off the engagement after Rick cheated on her. However, with Rick calling her the future Mrs. Ness, it sounds like things might be turning around for Rick personally, just as his professional life has gotten rolling again. Fans of Gold Rush flocked to the Facebook post and sent out their congratulations to the couple. Wonderful to see your happiness. Tell the future Mrs. Congrats. You're strong. So glad to see you back washing dirt and enjoying life. She's truly one incredible human being. You take good care of her, and she'll take good care of you. Good luck, Rick. You got a second chance. Don't waste it. You may not get a third. I'm pulling for ya. Ness, the rugged and determined miner known for his role in the reality TV series Gold Rush, has made headlines again, but this time it's not about striking gold in the Yukon. In a surprising turn of events, Ness has announced major relationship news that has fans buzzing with excitement. It was a crisp morning in Haines, Alaska, the kind of morning where the air feels electric with possibility. Ness, bundled in his usual flannel shirt and work boots, stood before a small gathering of close friends and a few curious locals. The setting was picturesque, the expansive Alaskan wilderness serving as a backdrop, with the early morning sun casting a golden hue over the snow-dusted mountains. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, the sort of tension that precedes a life-altering announcement. Rick took a deep breath, his eyes scanning the crowd. He was no stranger to the spotlight, but today felt different. This was personal. He cleared his throat and began to speak, his voice steady but filled with emotion. First off, I want to thank all of you for being here, he started, his voice carrying the weight of a man who has faced countless challenges both in the mines and in life. As many of you know, my journey in the mining world has been a wild ride. It's taken me to incredible places and introduced me to some amazing people. But today, I want to share something that's even more precious to me than gold. The crowd leaned in, eager to hear what Rick had to say. For years, fans had watched him endure the grueling demands of mining, the highs of striking rich veins, and the lows of equipment failures and financial stress. Through it all, Rick had remained a steadfast and charismatic figure, but his personal life had largely remained a mystery. Rick paused, glancing towards the edge of the gathering where a woman stood, her eyes locked onto his. Her presence was a mystery to many, but those closest to Rick knew that she was the reason for this gathering. Taking another deep breath, Rick continued, "Over the past year, I've been lucky enough to meet someone who has changed my life in ways I never thought possible. Her name is Lisa, and she's the most incredible person I've ever met." Rick's face broke into a smile as he spoke her name, and the crowd turned to look at Lisa, who smiled back, her cheeks flushing with a mix of pride and shyness. Lisa stepped forward, joining Rick at the center of the gathering. She was a striking contrast to the rugged miner. Her soft features and warm demeanor radiated a different kind of strength. As she reached Rick's side, he took her hand, his grip firm but gentle. "We met during one of the toughest seasons of my career," Rick explained. "I was dealing with equipment failures, financial pressures, and the ever-present challenge of finding gold. In the midst of all that chaos, Lisa walked into my life. She brought a sense of calm and perspective that I desperately needed. She reminded me of what's truly important." Lisa, her eyes glistening with tears, nodded in agreement. "Rick is one of the most hardworking and passionate people I've ever met," she said, her voice steady. "But beyond the mining, beyond the show, he's an amazing man with a huge heart. I'm so grateful to be by his side." Rick squeezed her hand, his own eyes betraying the depth of his feelings. "We've been through a lot together already, and I know there's nothing we can't handle as a team. That's why today, in front of all of you, I'm excited to announce that Lisa and I are engaged." The crowd erupted in applause and cheers, the excitement palpable. Friends rushed forward to congratulate the couple, while others wiped away tears of joy. Rick and Lisa stood at the center of it all, beaming with happiness. For Rick, this announcement marked the beginning of a new chapter. He had always been driven by a relentless pursuit of success in the mining world. But now he had found something even more valuable, a partner who would stand by him through thick and thin. Their love story was a testament to the power of connection, even in the most unlikely of places. As the celebration continued, Rick reflected on the journey that had brought him here. The countless hours spent digging in the frozen ground, the sleepless nights worrying about the future, and the moments of doubt and despair. Through it all, he had persevered, driven by an unyielding belief in himself and his team. And now, with Lisa by his side, he felt an even greater sense of purpose. Later, as the sun began to set and the gathering started to wind down, Rick and Lisa stood hand in hand, gazing out at the breathtaking landscape. It was a moment of peace and reflection, a chance to savor the joy of their announcement before the next chapter began. "Are you ready for this next adventure?" Lisa asked, her voice filled with excitement. Rick smiled, his eyes twinkling with determination. "With you by my side, I'm ready for anything." And with that, they stepped. As the celebration continued, Rick reflected on the journey that had brought him here. The countless hours spent digging in the frozen ground, the sleepless nights worrying about the future, and the moments of doubt and despair. Through it all, he had persevered, driven by an unyielding belief in himself and his team. And now, with Lisa by his side, he felt an even greater sense of purpose. Later, as the sun began to set and the gathering started to wind down, Rick and Lisa stood hand in hand, gazing out at the breathtaking landscape. It was a moment of peace and reflection, a chance to savor the joy of their announcement before the next chapter began. "Are you ready for this next adventure?" Lisa asked, her voice filled with excitement. Rick smiled, his eyes twinkling with determination. With you by my side, I'm ready for anything. And with that, they stepped forward together, ready to embrace whatever the future held. For Rick Ness, the man who had spent his life chasing gold, had finally found something even more precious: true love.